So I remember my first paycheck. I worked at the fish processing plant, $8.60 an hour. I made close to $3.80 as a 16-year-old
Makes you a better
kid.
meal right away, no? You get that check, and you see your taxes, and it's even less. You don't feel masculine at all, but that's the best you can do.
Cloud9. I could go to Abercrombie and Fitch and buy myself what I want.
Welcome to Vigorous Podcast. Today I'm joined by Mike Skrypchyk, also known as Planet Mike on Instagram. We met for the first time at the Mr. Olympia, and I wanted to get you on to talk about Bitcoin automatic teller machines. Tell me a little bit about these Bitcoin machines that you have, laundered around, not laundered, that you have, posted around your town, and now you're doing, a decent amount of income with these Bitcoin machines. I really want to know about it. That's why I wanted to get you on the podcast.
Oh, man, you go straight for the kill. You're I want to get that passive income. So, I automate my YouTube, and then I just kick back and cuddle with my cats and wife.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the way to go. How have you been, man? It was good to meet you at the Olympia. And how have you been since then?
Olympia has been a great experience, and I just like to be in the industry, and it's always great networking. After all, Olympia was the eye-opening to me. I was like, man, I'm about to turn 35, and I got to leverage myself and get myself ready because, if I did not make it by 40, then that's it. So, and to me, I don't want to die broke. So to me, broke is you're broke if you don't make over 25,000 a month.
Oh, straight for the kill. All right.
Yeah, man.
That's good. Yeah. I like it. So, but you had a couple people in the show as well, right? So you're multifaceted. You do coaching. You have these Bitcoin machines. And tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you kind of got involved with the business and also this Bitcoin stuff, because I found it super fascinating, obviously.
So short story. I've worked in the healthcare. I'm a prior combat medic. So I've done a lot of healthcare pretty much all my life. And I've been groomed by parents, which is fine. Like, hey, have a career, have a job. And then military came. I was climbing up my ranks pretty fast. And then I was like, man, it does not make sense to work for a rank for 3 years and my pay increase would be $500.
All right.
I was like, hey, man, I'm just going to get out and work at the hospital as a CT tech. And I will make the overtime money.
Right. And that's substantially more, right? In the hospital setting. No, it's not. Oh man. Yeah, we think so.
So yeah, the 2020 times hit. Yeah. And we start experiencing low volume of patients because I work in a level 1 trauma. So people don't get hurt, they don't get drunk. And basically, short story, I get fired. Oh. And at that time, I was like, oh, man, what am I going to do? How am I going to cover for $130,000 paycheck?
Yeah, right.
And then I already had like maybe 10 people coaching. So as we were declining in our tempo with patients because nobody was getting hurt, I will start coaching more, like creating little at-home workouts. I was like, hey, go to blood work, whatever, if you can, or do at-home blood tests. And so just leveraging all that. And then I'm like, my coworkers start asking me like, hey, Mike, can you work less? And I'm like, sure. He's like, you don't need money? I'm like, I'm all right. I didn't really tell him. So eventually I was like, dude, I can do this part-time. And then I'm like, I don't have to work nights anymore. So, well, I think our thoughts are things. So I literally fired myself. I fell asleep at the job because before I used to scan 25 to 30 people. Yeah. And of course, nurses always try to boss me around. That didn't go well. I always do my politely, professionally. Bye, Mike. So I'm like, I'll never come back there again. I'm like, screw this hospital, screw military. I'm tired of being a good guy.
Right.
So I was like, man, I went back to Belarus, spend there for 3 months, start coaching more people. I'm like, cool. Mm-hmm. So it came up and that's where everything picked up. And I was like, man, I can do this. Right. So later on, I moved to the place where I live right now. It's a high rise. There's a lot of highly successful people. So where you live matters.
Right. I agree.
If you're that person who always complains about like, oh, there's no opportunities, oh, there's no right people, everybody sucks. No, your geolocation sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So get out. And that's what I'd tell a lot of my young guys. Get out of your hometown, get out of your parents, and start doing so.
So you kind of threw yourself into the deep end, and then you came out swinging, and now you're doing exactly what you want to do, right? So I like these kinds of success stories, and especially if it only happened recently due to this, the pandemic and stuff that everybody suffered from, right? Like a lot of people, they, kind of mope and, oh, things are so bad, things are so bad. But if you put your mind to it, and you start doing what you actually love to do, I think a lot of people can end up just like you, just like me, and then doing exactly what they love. And, and you're coaching quite a decent amount of people at the Olympia, right? On the back end, because I remember I saw you there and you were talking to me like, I coached a couple of these guys and they did quite well, in the overall show, but you keep everything on the low. Right? You don't talk about it. Just like I never really talked about who I coached and who I was helping, and, don't do the before and after pictures on Instagram. Like, I helped this guy and that kind of stuff. So that's why
hard. And when people come to you, I believe universe, God sends them, and then they feel it and they go for it. It's like, hey man, I'll give you myself. And so my help at Olympia basically was all around supporting the biology under extreme pressure. Well, broad top world level pressure.
No, it's tough, man. Yeah, it's very tough.
See, I don't find this tough. If there's compliance and there's communication between the big coach and the functional health coach, we can speak the same language and we can come up with a plan where I don't get into his protocols when it comes to PEDs. I don't get into his training methods. I don't get into his cardio. I just, I work with nutrition. I work with supplementation and other ancillaries to address. And literally, hematology speaks volumes. So
of course.
Itself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so you're basically there in the back end, keeping these guys healthy and just making sure they finish the race.
Yes, but all happened from a fear. So I want to say, you say like, oh, if you like it, you're going to do it. Steve, without fear, none of this would be possible.
No? Do you have fear of failure? Or failure of not?
Bro, I was afraid. How can I pay? I owned a condo, 2-bedroom condo, so I had mortgage. So now I lost my $130,000 job. And then it hit me. I only had one stream of income.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
And I was like, man, I wanna like I gotta have something around. So there was no really, and then I fell on coaching. And then I left with that bitterness in my mouth where it's like there's no backup. But I possess so many skills. And I mean, as I immigrated to US, I worked at fish processing plants. I launched boats in Alaska, in the ocean. I was a deckhand in the military. I did all sorts of jobs. Again, I was combat medic. So it's like jack of all trades. I worked with the lab. I worked in treatment rooms. So eventually these skills came into the bodybuilding later on because I became like a California freaking incision and drainage guy who would like literally cut up people in their couches and drain. Like I worked on Ilya Golem, the big guy, the jet guy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
We drained at least 3/4 of a gallon of a pus from him. He was literally
was that bad? Huh?
He was borderline septic. And the reason why, if we went to La Jolla and they told us like, hey, listen, for our SOP, he is going into surgery right now. We slice in everything, put in 2 big shunts and stitching them up. And then he goes into rehab. So,
oh man.
And so then I've had another, I'm not going to name names, coaches, athletes. I had a Japanese guy. And he had a huge abscess too. Yeah. But his kidneys were failure. He has genetic disease. So and basically it was just bad gear.
Yeah, it happens a lot. Even at the pro levels, they don't always know what they're getting, or they just, they don't have the hookup like all the other pros have. It's still a minefield, the underground lab scene. So
100% it's a minefield. You don't control, no quality control, no quality assurance. There's nothing. So how can I be upset? Hey man, it's empty. Hey man, it made an abscess to me. Hey man, like listen.
don't have to take it.
That's why there's a standard. That's why there's a medical accredited body that supervises, creates the process of assurance and quality control. So don't be upset at, and I know a lot of coaches give references and, and send people out. And to me, you can't get upset at anyone. You taking the risk. So I like your way of going about it. You're like, hey, I don't touch anything than pharma. Also, a couple of my friends are the same way.
You have to in this day and age, man. It's you don't really know. And even with pharma, sometimes there's counterfeit. And even some of the pharmaceutical companies, they don't do it correctly. They use arachids oil, which is kind of inflammatory in some individuals. And there's even pharmaceutical formulations with ethyl oleate, which is also highly inflammatory. So there's very select amount of products that we can actually use safely if you trust your source.
Steve,
and then even then you might not win, even then you might not win if you use those pharmaceutical products, because all the other guys are on underground trembolone, unfortunately.
So 100%. And then again, let's touch up on this so we can cut this out. So sure. I want to talk about, since this question came out. So again, I was a combat medic and I did IVs, I did minor surgical procedures. Basically, I was PA on steroids. And basically, you got out and you can't do anything because you don't have license. In military, okay, see one, do one, teach one. Here's the book. Okay, cool. Right. Like you get your initial training and stuff. Right. So my biggest thing, we have to look into the hematology and innate immune response with any type of substance that we put inside in our body. So the key is we have to look into the basophils. And nobody really, I've noticed, and that's the big deal. So listen up, coaches, people who are interested in, objective approach and doing things right. Don't ignore breakdowns of white blood cells. White blood cells, they tell the story. So basophils are always going to be activated, and they will always play a key role in allergic response. Also, they'll be elevated if, let's say, we're highly estrogenic. They'll be also part of inducing production of IL-6, which is pro-inflammatory.
Right.
So now the question with this, so anything can trigger innate immune response. It all comes down to how much your biology was under the pressure. Yeah. So if you've been cycling, you've been doing this, then you hit a little sniffles, you got a little cold, you trained your legs, and then you go in like, hey man, this vial was totally fine. And we go back oleate base.
Oh yeah.
So what is oleate base? And I wrote it. This is your seed oils. So you guys all scream here in America, don't drink the seed oils. Like, I'm a bodybuilder, I don't drink seed oils.
Yeah, but you inject it. It's so funny, right? Yeah. Oh, what about the omega-6s and all that kind of stuff? And they still inject like 10 milliliters, 15 milliliters per week, while they carefully avoid, the oral seed oils. But there's no way around it, like the pharmaceutical castor oil, grapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, those are all seeds. But I still think that they're better than the industrial solvents, the propylene glycol and monoethylene glycol and those kind of things.
At least 10 incision and drainages. I used to have a black couch here, but it had too much pus and blood, so I got the white one. Then.
Yeah, so you could see it more. Yeah.
Nah, man. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. That was just too ridiculous. I played a little, kind of like, hey, let me save you. But again, it was not worth it. So oleate base created most PIP. Also, it created the most abscesses. So we have to learn here. There's two different type of abscesses. So there's a abscess that gets infected, and then there is sterile abscess. Yeah. So don't freak out when you approach an abscess. First of all, check temperature. Infection always means elevation in basal temperature. So body temperature will be up. So if temperature is not up, it's not infected yet. Right.
Could still be later infected, especially if you mess with it. Those guys that start home draining, with an 18 gauge, then it goes septic. I've heard these stories so many times.
And again, there's got to be an approach. So when we drained the biggest cyst was Ilya, and he posted a YouTube on that. He thanked me, and so we actually had a butterfly ultrasound. So I took him to one of my cardiologist friends who actually used it, under the table. I was like, man, I want to see how deep is that pocket. And we couldn't even go deep enough. So yeah, of course, something like that, he got really lucky. I've had another emergency room doc here. Again, I come from a medical network, so I have a lot of friends that are docs. And he came in, he dialed in, took pictures, sent it to his docs that were on duty in the ER, and they're like, "You are crazy if you're doing this."
Oh shit!
And he's here with his wife, and he's like, "Man, like if I go under the knife, I'm done. My whole career is done." So
because it's known publicly, or because the incisions were going to be so severe to drain them out properly in the hospital.
You won't be able to work out the muscle. They just cut everything up. So, well, again, I don't think he cares too much about aesthetics, but he always lifts heavy. He always in this, kind of like a strong type of lifter, freaky bodybuilder. So that's his brand, his image. But can you imagine being that type of caliber? He's from Belarus, just like me. He's my brother's blood. So I literally was praying there, man. But to be honest, I never met a tougher guy who could endure that much pain and did not pass out. It was insane. It was like hell in here. And poor wife, man. So
of course I can imagine. So you did it all in that room, in this house,
right behind me, man. The couch was there.
Oh my God.
I will send you a video of me repacking it in a hotel for the Japanese guy. So, so with him, that was infected. It was huge and it was infected. It was all getting down in the pockets and deep because temperature was up. So the moment he called me like, "Hey man, I don't feel well," I was like, check temp. It was 2 degrees elevation Fahrenheit. I'm like, that's it. So as you approach any type of post-injection pain and you start noticing there's swelling, there's signs of abscess. Infection always hurts. So when you assess the abscess, it's always very, very painful. And with that, if it accommodated by temperature increase, that is something serious. So that should be approached with most likely incision and drainage if it's big enough, and just one little cut and scoop it all out, then irrigate with saline. You can usually mix solution with iodine and then you pack it with iodoform gauze, which is the iodine gauze. And every day you take out 5-10 centimeters, 5 inches or so, something like that. And so
slowly drain it up.
Because and you just pull out all the crap because it just kills all the bacteria that might enter from the wound. Again, no anesthetic will help you. No. If it's infected, forget about it. It's going to be ridiculous. Usually, once you drain it, people have that alleviation, the relief.
Of course, the pressure is off. Yeah,
and guys, you got to know this. So, like, if you decide to do this, and you probably will, 18 gauge needles, and make sure you don't do it yourself.
Yeah,
watch them YouTube. There's videos out there. Get a buddy who is not an idiot, who can handle a needle.
There's most guys are idiots, when it comes to this stuff.
So, I was a combat medic for Marines. I was in Navy. So again, don't ever get the Marine to drain a cyst.
So just once.
You will die.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Devil dogs don't play. So anyway, so with that, you drain it, and if you're successful, you will see the pain going away, and you will see that the body temperature drops. With that, I would not start popping meds like Tylenol or aspirin to bring down the fever, unless it's critical. So I'd say 101, you start coming to 102, have it handy. Because
but usually they do like antibiotics, like Keflex or Augmentin, because those help with soft tissue infections. And I know that several of my friends have had drainage here in Thailand because they used underground labs, and they cut it open, gauze put in there, packed, and then they have intravenous antibiotics for the next couple of days just to make sure that the systemic or the septic state goes away.
Man, intravenous antibiotics.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That is blue. No. we avoid the GI tract like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah. But
And
you have
that's
to,
another
because
big one.
sometimes there's so much inflammation in the body that, the absorption is impaired, right? And again, if you do it through the intestinal tract, then yes, you'll have to repopulate your gut microbiome tremendously, especially with the heavy antibiotics that kill these kinds of infections. But it's still better than dying, right?
And that's a big thing. I'm a functional health person. And again, there's medicine that has place to be, and there's always applications. And guys, listen up. I hope everyone hears me. Don't bash doctors, and doctors don't bash functional health guys, naturopath. You are one family. You're there for one reason, to simplify life of your patients. So with that, if patient X doesn't want to eat right, doesn't want to exercise, want to be fat, he's going to need pharmaceutical blood pressure medications, statins, cholesterol medications. And if, let's say, there's a standard healthy person that's into fitness, eating right and everything, and he goes to the doctor and doctors give statins and all the pharmaceutical, no, don't do that. No, tell them higher functional health. But again, the issue is that everybody taught differently.
Yeah.
And there's so much on the line for doctors because, hey, I put in quarter of my life
for the medical degree
into becoming a doctor, a physician. So, and that's where a lot of, backlash comes in, is they look at me like, who are you? What are you doing? Are you a surgeon? I'm like, oh.
I learned this in the army. Yeah. No, it's I think it's very hard because what we do in bodybuilding and fitness, it's so all encompassing. And I don't think there's one particular field that specializes in fitness besides guys like you and me who've been there and done that and learned through mistakes in helping people. And then you get highly specialized on this particular this particular field, just like the doctors got specialized in cancer or liver health or hematology, right? But they might not understand so much about anything else because it's just another 15 years of a commitment to get that specialized. And for me, I don't feel specialized in anything, but I do feel that I have a lot of knowledge about various subjects to piece it together. And otherwise I'll be the first to say, I don't know. Please go visit the doctor because I'm not a doctor and you're too unhealthy for me to help you. I think, but dude, it happens a lot. I get emails every day where you say I'm sorry, dude. I know I'm on YouTube and you see me there, but I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So, and with this, with kidney failure or heart issues, you're going to have to see a specialist, and maybe get surgery. A couple of guys that I helped, in this sense, referring them to a qualified physician or send them to the Mayo Clinic, for example, they call me dude, you saved my life because I was too stubborn to go. I wanted to fix this online, but I had stenosis in one of the valves and I had to get a valve replacement. So these kinds of things. I want to hear that story, Steve.
Give us a little bit flashback to that story. How did you save the life?
So one of my clients, he went to one of my consultation clients. He went to Greece. And he's from Greece. He has a Greek parent, or he has Greek heritage. So every year he goes back and has a good time dancing, eating all the nice Greek food. And then he comes back to the US and he started continuing to eat bread. But it's this terrible processed bread that they only have in the US. They don't have it in Europe. They don't have it in Thailand. It's this bread that causes celiac disease and all kinds of intestinal issues. And what is it called? With gluten, complementary gluten. So he was in Greece eating bread, no problem. He goes to America, same bread, full with gluten, full with issues.
It's not the same bread, brother. Refined bleached flour. So basically it's so modified. So it's literally, it's say hi to your mast cells. And mast cells are the cells that are responsible for immune type of response. The ones that actually, will trigger IL-6 production and so on. So the foods are highly inflammatory here. Why? Profitable.
Yeah, it's cheaper. And people like it. It's full with sugar. I noticed when I went to the US, after 2 weeks of eating at some places, eating freely, because man, it's my holiday, I felt inflamed. And I spent so much time and effort to make sure that I'm not in an inflammatory state here in Thailand. I import all my food. I cook all my own meals. I do everything I can to make sure that, everything that I put in my mouth is the highest quality, except for Sunday afternoon when I eat outside, right? That's 37 meals good and 1 bad or 2 bad out of the week. right?
Same here, man. And personally, I'm from Belarus, from Eastern Europe, and I lived in Italy for 3 years in Sicily. I've eaten pizzas, pastas, like bread.
No issue.
No. And the olive oil and the blood markers were like superb. And you're like,
spotless.
Yeah. The soil,
the Mediterranean.
the soil, because Sicily sits on a volcanic ash.
Yeah.
So now here, what I do in US and California, spend $1, go to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Make sure you get organic, pasture raised. And listen, guys, here who is in US, the organic doesn't really cut it anymore.
No.
Like for meats, pasture raised. Make sure it's like free range eggs, like free range chickens, free range cattle and stuff. And what's interesting, it tastes so much better.
Yeah, we spent more, a lot more. But that's,
back to the point. Why do they do this? Think about this. So me working in level 1 trauma emergency, I can tell you one thing. United States will not let you die. You will freaking not die here. We will get you out from freaking death's hands, pull you out, and we will keep you alive so you can pay to the big pharma, and we will keep slapping that Band-Aids on you to make sure that you stay alive. The longer, the better, because that's very profitable. So again, if you start inducing, and causing a lot of changes in biology by feeding people inflammatory foods, what's going to go first? Statins, cholesterol meds, metformin, so insulin resistance, and then any type of blood pressure meds and so on.
Yeah, surprisingly, those are all very expensive also. And they don't have to be.
So if you don't pay with insurance, I know everybody's familiar with Telesmordan. I think 30 days supply of Telesmordan, $40 here. If you just
that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Well, for US, that's kind of pricey, because what if you have your average person who makes $40,000 a year, and you don't have insurance, and you got to take 5 different medications that cost $40.
Oh, that's $200. Yeah.
And you guys complain about supplements. You complain about
funny.
I spend 5. Well, yes, like you want to play big. You want to use the advanced stuff, and you don't want to maintain your supercar. Like, what are you like?
It's very weird, but a lot of people just don't understand it. And the weird thing is, you can actually get away with less supplements price-wise than the medications that most people take. I read a study not too long ago when I was preparing for a video about declining testosterone levels, that one of the most recent studies in America showed that over the course of a couple decades, people went from 2 prescription medications on average to 3 to 5 on average. And that's one of the reasons why testosterone levels were declining, all on beta blockers, all on blood pressure medications, all on Lipitor and cholesterol management, the statins, and all of those are known to reduce testosterone levels. You might need them as a bodybuilder, when you're doing heavy cycles. But again, I don't believe that you should add them in right away preventatively if your blood work parameters are totally fine. It's something to look into in the back of your head, like, okay, have them on standby just in case, right? But a lot of guys nowadays, it's a little bit of fear mongering, and they say, okay, you need to be on Bivol, Telmisartan, ezetimibe, et cetera, and all these supplements, when in reality, most guys don't really need it if they're kind of cautious with the drugs and even more cautious with the food. But again, it's so much work, right? People want the results right away. So I'd rather throw in the ancillaries just preventatively. Yeah, it's a mess, man. It's a mess. Yeah,
I believe it's very psychological.
Yeah. The more you take, right?
It's like, I'm doing bad things, yet I'm going to cover my tracks. And it's just like, I'm taking the pill. So like, I'm fine. I'm blessed in 700 tren, but I took 200 ubiquinol. My heart's okay. Yeah. and that pulmonary artery just like literally barely can breathe. Like,
yeah. All the inflammatory prostaglandins. Yeah. Now it's funny how this industry works. I do think that people are getting smarter. I do think they are, but it's been a slow and steady fight. with guys like you, me, Derek, a couple other knowledgeable people, Dr. Dean St. Marks, people over at Think Big, like there's not many people in our fitness industry who can actually guide with intelligence. And I really hope that over the next couple of years, more people will pop up, because I feel that the old guard, even though some of the IFBB pros are kind of opening up, you see a lot of podcasts. Flex Lewis has a podcast. People are opening up, and Jay Cutler and Milos.
I like Flex's energy, man.
Exactly. He's good. He's great.
Man, yeah.
Yeah. And Milos is everywhere, and they're all opening up a little bit, but they either don't know or they're holding back still. Right, about the real things that goes on with it, or maybe they never needed it because their genetics are so good that their response is they never needed to do anything crazy like the gym rats do, or they simply don't know.
They don't. They don't. I've had experience with the top caliber open, and most of the guru coaches, they just operate from intuitive knowledge standpoint and experience. So I can tell you right now, I can look literally at my female client, and if she's natural, I can kind of almost tell you what menstrual cycle phase she's in.
I love it. I fucking love it. I thought I was one of the few who could actually pinpoint it, and I could see it in women as well when they're doing contest prep. You know exactly when they're on a remake and they stop their period, right? And I tell them, hey, why am I not getting lean?
They're
I would
like this,
pull them
bro.
aside. Yeah. When was the last time you had your period? I say, it's been like 7 weeks. I said, okay, you need to make some adjustments.
This is estrogen, bro. Estrogen pills.
Yeah, well,
estrogen pills. This is estrogen pills, and a lot of people would like in the industry were like, oh, I don't need an estrogen, and I'm like, and like you're a woman, you're estrogen driven. So the first thing I always ask, why God Almighty made your biology, primarily operate off sex hormone estrogen and mine of testosterone? What's your take on it?
So I think with testosterone, it's just, it's a driver of aggression and masculinity and metabolism and mindset. Yeah. Also perhaps. Yeah.
Brain chemistry, 100%. So, and that's where the masculinity and femininity comes in place, where stoicism, higher testosterone levels, more dopamine, more focus, more driven, and, estrogen, woman, feminine energy, more empathetically driven, more emotionally, reactive, more vibrant and interesting. So you got this ogre, like Vigorous Steve. He's got his little tiny wife. She's like, you sit there, like, you're funny.
Of course,
yeah. So and that's the beauty. So. And right now, the huge push goes from the red pill community that like, masculinity, you should be feminine, you should be this and that. Half of these girls on the hormonal birth control will shut down HPTA access. I don't care what femininity coach you do, what books you do as the woman, you cannot fully step in your feminine essence and operate in your full-on feminine spectrum if you choose to, one to their own, with all due respect. And now speaking of girls on stage, you're like, I know when you have an amenorrhea. So you could see that neurological pressure, the neuroinflammation, nitrogen reactive species, plus on top of the ROS, then everything's just shut. So they're inducing menopausal state on them. Yeah. And guess what happens?
Especially when they start dabbling with the aromatase inhibitors, when they start pushing the Nolvadex and the Arimidex, or even letrozole, which some of the weird coaches do, they're completely estrogen deficient, and it's I've seen it so many times.
I've been I went off on I'm always like straight up like, hey, first DM. Please learn, hey, I can help you, like educate yourself. Like, and then there's too much egos, like, oh, who the hell you are. And the interaction was one of the top coaches was doing the exact same thing, letrozole, Arima, and Nolvadex. So I was like, hey, listen, man, you're doing 2 IIs and a SERM. And he's like,
which is also an AI, one of the
And,
metabolites.
and he goes to me, what's SARMs? It's SARMs. It's not SERM. And I'm like, oh, bruh. I'm like, so like, I still have screenshots. And one of the biggest bikini teams out there. And I was just like, you know what? God bless you. And the coach was good in the beginning. He kind of shared a few things, but like I say, if you are, we have to keep each other accountable.
Right.
You're my friend. I'm like, hey, Steve, you're fucking up. You've been a crybaby. No more Vigorous.
Yeah.
I like Vigorous. So
vanilla. Yeah, no more vanilla shit. More Vigorous, right? Yeah. No, but that's how men are amongst each other, right? But I think, the dynamic between men and women, they can hold each other accountable also. And the women as well. But I feel that in this sport, it's kind of missing. Everybody's focused on the wrong thing. And it's too much
trauma.
of this.
I believe it's trauma. And I do work with a lot of women, and it's quite an intrusive coaching. So we're traumatized. So even from my experience with women, very commonality is when father was present, everything was in, but he was emotionally unavailable for his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So now she lives in trauma of not being enough and always being scolded and always being so. Now she feels great stepping into her masculine energy. She feels powerful. I can fucking deadlift 300 pounds. I can be jacked. I can have calf shoulders. I can, and and me, I'm like, this is great. Put that estrogen away.
Take that out.
It's like to me before, when I was going through my personal growth as the man. So before I was triggering, like, oh, like you should be feminine. Like I was like stuck on red pill. And eventually you outgrow this and you understand that everyone on their timeline, everybody experienced their own path. And we don't choose our parents. We don't choose place where we were born. And so these experiences traumatize them. So the bodybuilding and competitive outlet is a channeling outlet that actually good for the soul, where they're not ready to accept the internal pain, trauma, and they go on stage and they slowly get to feel it. Let's say, what if woman was abused and things happened in her past? She's unable to get in touch with her sexuality because she feels ashamed. She can't channel it. Now, hey, this is sport.
Empowering,
turn, back pose.
Yeah,
that's absolutely is okay. But then we get carried away because we attach competitive aspect. And when you put group of athletes into a division, then we start going extreme because man, usually, let's be real. We kind of know, like, hey, you got a big dick, you got a big dick. I got a big dick, I got a big dick. So we don't talk about usually people who don't criticize, and people who are it's like take that out, and
get out of here. Take your small dick out.
I love you, brother, and your small dick, but like, yo, like chill out. So now with this, it becomes so competitive to the point of extremes where they hyper compensate for being enough. So for man, I can speak for man, 4 niches. So first, resourcefulness.
Four or five niches.
Four. So resourcefulness, your ability to make money. So I remember my first paycheck, I worked at the fish processing plant, $8.60 an hour. I made close to $3.80 as a 16-year-old
Makes you a better meal right away, no? You get that check and you see your taxes and it's even less. You don't feel masculine at all, but that's the best you can do.
9. I could go to Abercrombie & Fitch and buy myself what I want. And be the cool kid. Because rest in peace to my stepfather, and he was the man. He is like, I'm getting those jeans. He's like, we're buying you these jeans. I'm like, they will not buy me the jeans. And that's what drove me. I'm like, you know what? Screw you. Same thing was, and that I think instilled a lot into me, where it's like, hey, I'm not agreeing with the lifestyle or the situation I'm in. You know what? Bye-bye hospital. Hello coaching. And I've done it all, but always, I strive to be the best in it. So now we live in this trauma. So for resourcefulness, as long as you continue to be on conquest and make more money, that's growth. That's good. You're not stagnant. So you feel like there's always every year a little better, maybe a little setback, but you will catch up. So second is your social standing, your social status. So don't you feel like that? Was super excited, and I'm like, wow, like I'm on live with Vigorous.
Yeah, it's
like,
funny. It's funny to be in this position when I remember this excitefulness when I came on podcast. I'm like, oh, I can't believe that I'm on so-and-so podcast. And it's like, we're all the same here. We're all like go-getters, part of the fitness industry, but I do understand it. But don't be bamboozled by the subscriber count. It's only going to get more. And the next time I'll have you on, you'll be even more impressed.
Hey, man.
But it's just you and me, man. It's the same group of people.
So your social status and you feel yourself like, hey, I walked into Olympia and you said like what? Every big name. Hey, Steve, I appreciate your content. Hey, thank you. And guess who was next to you all that time?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it was the best thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%, dude. 100%.
I bet after during Olympia, you probably had the best sex.
No details. No details. That's why I got a nice room in Las Vegas. Yeah,
yeah, man. And what I say, but that makes your woman feel special. Hey, my man, I'm 100% sure you're doing well financially, so resourcefulness, and then my man holds a high niche and is respected around by a high caliber, man. So that's huge.
No, that's the ultimate goal, right? And that's just the first 2 points. So I really believe in financial self-reliance, where you're able to make your own money. You're not, reliant on an employer. And I used to be in the same boat, up until I was 26 years old. I was a financial business consultant.
Finances, yeah.
Yeah, financial business consultant, yeah, but mostly in IT. So you take the financial aspect of IT and then try to optimize the business from the finance aspect, but it's mostly based in IT. So it's Oracle and SAP, database systems and enterprise management. And yeah, it was a killer time during the economic IT boom of, let's say, 2006 to 2009, and then it all crashed, just like Bitcoin crashes every 4 years. It's so that was golden period. I was able to increase my salary, like I almost double and a half it within a couple of years, and then it all crashed, and I didn't want to work for anybody else anymore.
Hey man, once you taste that, you're like, you know what? I will die trying, but I will never go back.
No.
So for you, and that now it totally makes sense. That's where that critical thinking mind comes in. Anything that we start early in life and we develop, I believe there's some type of neuroplasticity with our mind. Also, with the way we finish growth by 25.
Yeah.
So I believe there's some type of adaptive response of our biology that also affects our neurons, affects our musculoskeletal tissue, like everything. So the earlier at the age we get exposed to XYZ stressor environment, our body will be more prone to actually progress later on in life if we decide to, take it to that level. And with that,
I think you're also more resilient. So like to come back on trauma, right? Like everybody has a story, right? Just like I do, like in my younger years. And I think this trauma, if it stays with you and you're able to overcome this, right? You hit rock bottom. And then you get yourself out of it, but it's through self-reliance, not through help. And you can literally conquer everything. And I've hit rock bottom maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. And the last time was like financial rock bottom, whereas mentally I was okay, but financially I was fucking dead broke, just living off my mom. Terrible. And then I realized in that moment, I never ever want to feel like this ever again. Ever. And you start grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. And then even though you're financially secure and you can pay all your bills and you hit all your financial targets, grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, because it's now imprinted in you, it's embedded, and it's almost impossible to get it out. And then, you try to hit new targets and set the bar even higher and higher and higher. But yeah, like you said, once you have a partner and she can see that, you're really after improving yourself continuously. It's I think for women, that's like sealing the deal. Like, oh, this is the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. And, you got to tack off those boxes first with yourself before anybody can get into a relationship. And then once you're in that relationship, I mean, it's unbreakable, dude. It's unbreakable.
And
but it's rare. It's rare.
It's so rare. And it's still, there's a lot of work. And I'm fairly new into my relationship, but I mean, I've been waiting for this for a long while. And it takes a lot of self-acceptance.
Yeah.
Gotta
you have to
accept
compromise.
because if you did not address your holes, then it's going to reflect into your loved one.
Absolutely.
And then I mean, I get it. Personally, I don't believe in compromise. I believe in addressing self.
Yeah.
But
it's a little bit the same thing, right? I mean,
but for women, hey, be a woman, be vulnerable, be broken. I can I'm like, okay, here's the plan. And if you are agreeable, receptive, you're not crazy argumentative, that I respect your point of view and I will give you anything. So even with my woman, we had a talk a few days ago, and I was like, listen, like, made a rule. So I made her do it because she's Slavic. So this culture of this woman, they keep a lot inside, and they will not say anything.
Same as in Thailand. You have to. It takes a couple of years to get that out, but at one point you will take it out, and so otherwise you just got to pull them aside.
It's so beautiful when they start. I'm like, talk. I'm like, yes. You start telling me how you feel, because I'm not a magician, a wizard to understand your emotions. Like, I understand logic. So at times, I think that is probably one of the best skills for any woman, especially in our industry, in the fitness bodybuilding industry, to learn how to speak your emotions into a logical sense that men can understand.
Yeah, but I think I think it's also for men that women can understand, because of course, like when she's angry, for example, right, for whatever reason, and she doesn't want to communicate, and you get angry, then you make it worse. So you got to be fluid in your approach, right? You got to be dynamic in your approach to kind of get her to talk, and then you talk it out of it without getting upset, because that will just make her more reclusive and that kind of stuff. And not that I have so much experience with women. I mean, most of the women in my life, they came and went after, a couple of days because I got bored. And then my wife was the only one that stayed for 10 years because I felt she was actually worth it. And all the other women before her were, uncomparable.
It all comes down to respect, the inner feminine respect. So when she recognizes XYZ traits, qualities, then you feel it subconsciously. So a lot of times I've seen so many superficial relationships. I've been in there. I'm like, oh, you're hot, you're this. And I'm like, oh. And then it's just deep inside. Her feminine inner core, so either triggered by you, or you're so triggered by her wounded feminine, or both of you are in your trauma. And then on surface, we're all beautiful, sexy, hot, confident. And inside is just a little kid curled up, freaking.
Yeah.
So back to a man, and a lot of young men's going to be watching this podcast. You have to understand, when you use PEDs, everything gets amplified. If you don't do your blood work, if you don't control your estrogen, guess what's going to happen? It also will activate the oxytocin system in men. So now you can get clingy, you can fall in love so much faster. You're
jealous.
Heard this story where it's like trend. So you become very jealous, aggressively unstable, because there's so much neurological pressure. So your nerves are like that. I'd say moderate dosage of tren is equivalent of bikini competitor being on sub 1,000 calorie diet for 8 to 10 weeks and basically doing 2 hours of cardio and stuff, completely shutting yourself down, sterilizing, maybe popping a few Adexes and, topping it off with Nova. And that's going to be equivalent when they're so unstable.
Yeah.
So with that, you add to men so much, let's say, if you don't control estrogen, then it start affecting the brain chemistry. So serotonin and oxynergic circles. So you become aggressively possessive, jealous, and clingy.
Yeah, I see it happen a lot, dude. I see it happen a lot. And then, of course, during a contest prep, when you use Trend, these guys are also poor to communicate because they're on a contest prep and dieting and stuff. And then it gets even worse because, you know, the jealousy and the frustration.
Man, every man should hear this.
Yeah.
You got to kill the bitch and listen to a man. And Steve said, hey, you gotta, what did you say? Your wording was fluid. You got to be fluid.
Yeah, you got a little bit fluid and, you know, tactful in your approach, you know, but that takes time and skill. And you can't be on the trenbolone sandwich.
Steve, it takes a man. It takes a stoicism. So what you're talking about is holding your frame. That's the red pill language for everybody, you know, there watching Andrew Tate and Rollo Tomassi, you know, a lot of great stuff. I mean, philosophies are great and you can always take good stuff from here and there and certain things you can agree, but don't ever, I never myself, you know, attach to one philosophy. No. You know, the only philosophy I attach is the God. That's it.
Like with this red pill stuff, you know, everybody's always talking about red pill, but it's not something you learn. Or it can transfer. It's something you learn through life. And at one point, you put your foot down and said, I'm sick of this shit. You know, whatever it is. Then you start owning the moment, you know, and then you say, I don't agree with this. I don't increase with domestic abuse, or I don't agree with, you know, how the government handles my situation when I'm, you know, fucking adult. I can take care of my own shit. Mm-hmm. Then you put your foot down. But talking about it is not the same as experiencing it and actually putting your foot down. And I think it's the same with relationships, you know, like you have to go through the ringer for a couple of years in the same relationship and get all these problems presented to you, and not necessarily relationship problems, but outside problems like social pressure or pressure with money or, you know, pandemics. And suddenly, you know, both of you are working full time and now suddenly you spend 2 to 3 years together, 24/7.
Nothing comes close to a woman, bro. So money, social problems. I'd say woman is capable of hurting a man emotionally.
Oh yeah,
double, triple than any pain he can endure from external world. Mm-hmm. You know, and
that's why you got to pick carefully.
It's you have to be aware of current state. So awareness is a key. So if you pay attention, like, hey, I'm using XYZ compounds for XYZ time, so they will be affecting my brain chemistry in a certain way. Let's say using NORS, your dopamine is going to get drained. Right. So there's going to be insane pressure, let's say, like trends on your neuroaxis, neuroinflammation. So what are you doing to address this? And so now if you didn't address internal issues in yourself, and now everything amplified. And so then you just become you become incongruent. And here's the biggest analogy I made that up. So here's this woman, and she sees like, hey, Death Star Delts. It's like, hey, baby. And then she's like, ooh, that guy's hot. You know, like, it's like, oh, hey, Mr. Chad. I'm like, what's up? You know, baby, don't hurt me. I'd be like, huh. And then she just like, oh, great. He exudes masculinity. So we're going back into the force. So, you know, he exudes third, primal dominance. Mm-hmm. So he must be dominant. So her subconscious registers you as that, you know, alpha, big, strong, dominant, stagnant. And if you look in the animal kingdom, it can teach us so much. So I don't like the alpha, whatever, the dominant one in the pack. He is slow to react. He's there to assess. He is there very assertive. And I saw that clip on Reel, 2 tigers, you know, going at it. And the dominant tiger was the one. He did very few moves, but he clawed that other one and submitted him. He just went down and crawled in. And that's how they handled the business. That was 2 tigers right there. So again, I wish humanity handled the business like that. Where like
the lawyers are right around the corner. Hey, he slapped you, and the $1 million lawsuit. You know, that's the problem nowadays.
Yeah,
everybody's scared to get sued or get kicked out of the country. You know?
Or California, we just had 10 people, you know, in a drive-by. I don't want to talk about the YouTube. So like, again, so, and it's all it comes from where? Comes from how did that man feel?
Mm-hmm.
And the feelings of a man kill. Because society constantly teaches us, show the emotions, be emotionally, accept your emotions, make peace with your emotions, keep them here. Hey, if you got to cry it out, call to me, don't go to your woman, handle it with the strong masculine support network. Because if you're being an extra sissy, I'd be like, hey, Steve, we got to toughen up, man. This is a bit of like, and I swear to you, man, back to the Bitcoin stuff. So one of my boys, and back to the estrogen and all that, I literally, he was like, Mike, I believe in you. And I was in the same position as you were, like, I almost moved to Arizona to my mom here. And I lived so good here. And I was like, if I don't make 5 to 10 grand this month, this is not going to be stable for me to stay here, because why I want to hang on a string, I want to have, at least,
Of course, with some disposable income. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, and he's like, yeah, I believe in you. So at that time I was so under so much stress and depression, stress. So control the esters. I didn't control the esters because before I didn't convert like that. But now, boom. And I'm like, he's like, he wrote me a text, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to record this. And I'm like, record the video. I'm going to post it one day once I come out. Once I hit my first mill, I'll make an episode about it, and I'll show that video to the whole world.
The rock bottom video.
I'm like, bro, like, I love you. Only one believed in me. And then freaking next week, I went to draw the bloods. I was at 180 estradiol, bro.
Fuck.
180. I literally was near at the level of ovulatory phase of estradiol.
For women, right? And it's so funny because some coaches nowadays, they recommend, just let your estradiol run wild. And meanwhile, all these coaches that say that, they're all mentally deranged. Exactly the same. I see such a funny correlation. All these guys that really preach trend and just let your estradiol run wild, all these guys are deranged. When you see their posts on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, it's so funny to see. And there's such an easy band-aid for it. You remove that stuff, and then you get yourself into a nice state of composure again. But these guys are not willing to see the light in the forest. So, but it's good that you mentioned it. Yeah,
that's a great topic, I think, to go into it. And so back to the estrogen world over the place. So first thing, controlling. How do we control the inflammation? Control the inflammation, address the inner state. You got to be in your zen, because if you're all messed up here, you have a lot of neuroinflammation. So your glial cells are off freaking the wall. So glial cells, what they make you in the brain? They make you quit. So you become very impulsive, emotionally reactive, a big freaking quitter, like sissy.
Right.
So on top of that, your prolactin probably through the roof, because people don't know that. Estradiol, prolactin go hand in hand. So and there's an issue there. So because estradiol in high levels for our biology can be also neurotoxic, right? It goes back and forth. So at the same time, it's a neuroprotective. But the whole idea, I believe, why industry does it, to induce more IGF-1.
That could be the case, yeah, of course. But, like, you get a beneficial effects of high levels of estradiol in the liver by, acting as a co-secretor when growth hormone levels are high. Okay, IGF-1 levels go up, bone mineral density goes up, perhaps some collagen synthesis and anabolism goes up. But if it starts affecting androgen receptors, so you get this, bypassing effect, activating the androgen receptors when androgen are present. But if it starts messing with your brain and you literally get on top of everybody's shit list, what's the point? What's the point in having your estradiol that high and running trendy around and preaching to, the small amount of followers that you have that, you're the God's gift to the fitness industry? I don't know, man. I think a little bit of caution is advised.
My take on this, again, awareness and understanding. And I understand they do this to feel a certain way. So we go back to the feel, and where's our purpose? So you chase the feel. You're no different from the drug addict. If you chase that feel, and that's what makes you stay in your little bubble, in your little safe zone with trend and, a freaky body and whatever, are you really facing a mirror? Or are you trying to change the mirror reflection?
They're projecting. Yeah, they're projecting. Yeah. No, so that's why I think this industry is so funny, because there's a lot of volatile people in here, right? And also a lot of people who are super composed, very intelligent, well ahead of where most people are their age, but it's only such a select few. And, like guys like me and you, we always try to portray like a better state of health, a more conscious effort in things, how we manage everything. And I hope eventually it will get adopted as a new norm. But,
it's a knowledge. It's a knowledge. And I've done this mistake many times where I was like, I'm trying to make the horse drink water versus, hey, let's take a stance with, hey, I'm an educator. So this is my anecdote. This is what my intuitive knowledge got me to. And people are like, oh, intuitive knowledge, what it is. It's your gut feeling and your ability to assess the corners of your hard drive and put it all together. Yeah. So it's that excitement that gets your processing power out. So you can have a little bit of knowledge and not like biochem, in depth, and you could put the puzzle together, because everything, I believe, very quite simple. I think that's how we got into this podcast, because of the Boldenone. So you want to touch on this?
Yeah, let's get into it. So you sent me another study about how estradiol is like a nephroprotective, right? And I just finished a video about how Boldenone is nephrotoxic. And I speculated at the end, maybe it's the estradiol that's actually nephroprotective. And it's the effect of Boldenone converting either into estrone in the liver or inhibiting the conversion of testosterone into estradiol and thus reducing it. And now you have a double whammy, right? You have the negative effects of estrone and none of the positive effects of estradiol. So you sent me this study, and then I was like, I got to get Mike on, because this is a good time to discuss it. And you did a lot more research since then. So please inform us about these interleukin-6 and estrone and all that kind of stuff, because it will be a great segment just to add on top of that Boldenone deep dive.
Hey guys, so first let's take a look at the Boldenone itself. And I think Derek did such a great job covering it. I actually went and looked at his own research with his own blood values and stuff. So he was testing estrone. Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting because a lot of us who go into Google, PubMed, and whatever, we start Googling, it bunches estradiol, estrone, estriol together.
Yeah.
So there's three different types. So what can we learn from observing humanity, a woman, menopause? Mm-hmm. So go look in their studies with the woman going through menopause, her kidney function declines. So what happens in the menopause? And that's what really got my thing spinning. Also, I have a cystic fibrosis client where I kind of put it on pause because we were doing a great job sustaining, keeping inflammation and controlling the cystic fibrosis. It's uncurable. Yet the whole key was to go around the immune response and body reacting. So now with women, before plenty of estradiol, cyclic nature, so we get a nice little kick. It does its antioxidant work, so it lowers the inflammation. You don't take Tylenol, aspirin the whole months. You're like, hey, it hurts. Same thing, woman. That little spike during ovulation, day 10, 12, 14, whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so she gets it then. But next, luteal phase, progesterone, boom. Again, neuroprotective. Also, progesterone activates the androgen receptor, makes the little bit of testosterone that they have work better. That's why I say a lot of times, if women can grow effectively without progesterone. So once the last egg drops, body changes to estrone. And the reason why it changes because estrone has function to shut down FSH, progesterone. Here we go. And with that, we start seeing the negative effects, the swap into the hormonal state of women's biology. So that's why TRT clinics are like unbelievably doing well. because
because there's so much roller coaster going on every month.
and I do help a lot of women with cycle optimization, coming off the birth control, autoimmunes and all this, and with that, it's like when she catches the perimenopause and she goes to the clinic, they can start replacing her, let's say, with progesterone, because after, I'd say 40 is just going to keep
it's going to keep dumping.
So was that maintain that ratio, maybe a little estrogen as well, or maybe 3, depending on the perimenopausal symptoms. So was that her ovaries never shrink?
Right. Yeah, because you have good levels the entire way through, so you don't get into these polycystic issues because you're hitting that post-menopause state. And I think it's very good to see, like, with women who are full post-menopause with chronically low estradiol levels. That's where a lot of these health issues stem from. And you see that with a lot of the scientific evidence regarding aromatase inhibitors. They're so deleterious because they're prescribed in cases of breast cancer in postmenopausal women where estradiol is already low, and then they crush it even further. And now they think this loss of bone mineralization and hair loss and skin issues and connective tissue issue, that's related to the aromatase inhibitors. No. It's postmenopause making it worse, and the cancer, obviously. So there's a lot of misinterpretation of the scientific evidence.
And industry is no different. And I think it all goes around, proliferation, stimulating the IGF-1 release. And I mean, tissues, organs can release IGF-1. It's not just the liver, as we all know. And then now they're like, oh, estrogen's bad, it's bad, cut it out. So, and there's been a Nobel study that proved that cancer cannot survive in non-acidic environment. So when you cut out estrogen out of the equation, pH, inflammation. So now, great. It boggles me, mind boggles me. And I'm like, I never learned really biochem. I probably just learned it from Alex Kickel. That's it. Everything that Alex posted, I'm like, oh my God, I barely can understand you. And then eventually I got the manual of endocrinology and then the guts and a couple of biochems. Anyway, so with that, it's like, I'm like, oh, wow. So you really don't have to go that deep if you understand the puzzle. So with this, they're going backwards, Band-Aid style. Because chemo is very profitable. And just as bad as it sounds, it's so profitable. So, hey, let me shut down all anti-inflammatory effects, all neuroprotective effects. We'll put you on antidepressants. We'll give you everything else, like boom, boom, boom. We'll just keep throwing Band-Aids at you. And now we will tell you that, hey, IGF proliferates cancer cells. I'm like, brah, stop the cap. I want to throw the cap right there because, listen, how can you stop that's why we always have this in the community, is GH going to give me cancer? Control inflammation, keep your mast cells in check and, have a nice, good antioxidant supports, have, optimal levels of everything. And no, it won't. Why GH? Dante Trudel would actually is the one I give credit for. Why GH would give you credit? Senescent cells.
Yeah, of course, because it does speed up cell proliferation. But there's so much you can do to prevent senescent cells. And a lot of people are just putting the blame on one drug or one hormone, when in reality it's their entire lifestyle that's messed up. And then, yes, in that case, maybe a little bit of IGF-1 that's elevated or a little bit of growth hormone that's elevated can worsen the proliferation if it's already present, but it didn't cause it. It might make it worse.
100%.
Because you're so inflamed. You're so, horribly taking care of yourself. So let's move back to the Boldenone before people get
I want to add to the inflammation and estrogen in women. Why is that also can be the point? Why is that appealing to keep women in this type of state? When woman is shortened of estrogen, when women shorten of all these hormones, she's easier to control and manipulate. She's way more, prone to being impulsive. and not paying attention because you don't have neuroprotective issues. Serotonin, dopamine are down. Also, when you shut down the estrogen in the woman, shut down the axis, and that goes to all industry competitors, females right there. You also shut down the oxytocin production as well. Those two and two. So how can a woman who is competitive, and let's say she wants to get in a long-term relationship and experience relationship as a bodybuilder, and she never came out of amenorrhea, speaking of, never restored her menstrual cycle, and how in the hell are you going to pair bond and attach to a man of your preference? So now here goes the disaster, and I want to talk about this, and I hope this whole world hears. So now you're shutting your primary female hormones and you're putting non-primary, secondary androgenic hormones. It changes your brain chemistry. Now you start switching to a mate and selection process differently, because now you're psychologically prone to be going after Steve or Mike, who's got, delts, muscles and stuff. Yet you can't pay attention and have a peace of mind to realize that Mike and Steve are trend heads, emotionally aggressive, disasters. They can't focus. All they want to do is sit on a couch.
That's the old me. That's the old me.
Yeah. So here we go. Here's this woman. And how can we blame? And then the red pill community goes on them. All these women either, in our industry, we get it, how they shut down, low calories and androgens. In the world, birth control, very profitable. The biggest consumers, who? Women. So keep them single, they will spend more. 100%.
Yeah, that's true.
So now we talk about family building, we're talking about society, and we're chemically altering ourselves. So how can that woman experience a relationship and get into it when she is androgenically driven with male sex hormones and have nothing to stimulate her brain chemistry to basically reactivate the estrogen and oxytocin system? And whatever estrogen maybe there left is enough to maybe, have some kind of libido, but then your intimate sexual experience changes. So you become,
the bonding isn't there. It's just a primal physical desire, right?
Emotional. If you have a lot of neuroinflammation, you cannot have a human experience. And this industry needs to hear this. Oh, I'm healing. I'm this. I'm working on myself. Baby, address your sex hormones first. Address your biology first. Body, mind, soul. You can't heal if your biology is not healed. It's actually is going to amplify and make everything worse. So,
right. And you see that with a lot of girls that compete multiple times per year, right? They don't get their periods back and they don't impair their overall, sex hormone and neurosteroid balance. And they're constantly on a low dose of Anavar, Proviron, or whatever else that they feel that they need. Yeah. And they're all single, or they're impossible to be with,
And now feel. So we go back to feel, man and woman. So men usually think, hey, I think this makes sense, a logic, masculine energy, logic. Woman, I feel. How can you feel if your feels come from androgen-driven stimulation of the brain? So you will act. Your brain will have more dopamine, so you will be less agreeable. You will be no near as empathetic. You will be no near as loving. You can perform duties. You can do X, Y, Z. Hey, cook, clean, hug, whatever, do in bed. I'll do everything. But deep inside, that man feels unsatisfied. And that's why a lot of issues, we have. Where a man like, what? I'm just gonna have, I'm gonna date you, but I'll not take it for a long ride, because if you can offer sex to me, I'll take it. You're a great person, everything. I'll put up with a lot, as long as it doesn't, get in the way of my purpose. But this poor woman, like no hormones, and then how can you have a human experience that your biology was meant to, be?
And the weird thing is because like the competition is so addicting, right? And they're patching the hole of maybe emotional insecurity or trauma from the past. And in that moment, you feel highly driven, right? You're after the goal. You're making ends meet. It's highly lucrative to be a fitness girl. There's a ton of sponsors, and these girls can make a substantial amount of money. So in the back of your head, a lot of them think like, I don't need a man. I can do this by myself. And in that moment, they can. But then 5 years, 7 years down the line, when they're a little bit older, a little bit more masculinized, and their competitive careers behind them, then they realize, what? I spent the last 7 years alone. I see it so much, like beautiful women that are now in their mid 30s, and they're less desirable, and they had a killer career, and they lost their period for a multitude of years during that time. So maybe having kids is out of the picture also. And bonding, forget about it. They had very shallow relationships, and men are pigs, and that's how they feel about it.
Well, the reason why, how can I step in my full masculine frame and be for you a protector, a provider, a one who will stay stoic and accept your emotions and everything? If I don't feel respected, I feel loved when I see that you respect me. Respect comes with agreeability, also empathy. So when woman cuts off her female hormones, it becomes very difficult to become emotional empathetic. So my number one rule when we first start seeing each other, I told her, I'm looking for one quality to begin with. Your emotional empathy to my purpose, my contest, my conquest. So if you see what I do and you're like, wow, this is awesome. Hormones. Ooh, you're so smart. You're this, like, you're amazed. You're like, you're excited everywhere. Like, oh yeah. So because she understands that you have dominance in a niche. And again, you have certain social standings that's coming.
Right. And a huge goal, but unfortunately in this world, like men like us, we can always make more money than the women can in our position. But that also means that being associated or with us opens a lot of doors. I mean, the amount of doors that I opened for my wife over the last 10 years, crazy. And
I believe in wage gap, and wage gap comes with the difference in our biology. And Dr. Haberman did such a great episode on glial cells and stuff like that, and brain chemistry, where our biology as men, we have basically, we can withstand more in terms of not quitting. So that allows us to put in longer hours. That allows us to be more persuasive, more pushy, more, I guess, be more in conquest at the moment, where the female biology has its own strength, where she's in her feminine essence. She is very emotionally in tune. And
sharing,
she is, well, yes. And she can absolutely pave her way into XYZ career the same as men in her own feminine way.
Right.
And it's going to be very powerful. So with this now, but yet she is programmed to have such a huge liability, and that's childbearing.
Yeah.
If we take everything away, and let's say there's you, me, Derek, I don't know, Dr. Haberman, and we go to we all have our woman on the thing. Right. And listen, if we don't team up and we are like, hey guys, we got to go kill. And then woman's like, hey, we got to, keep the fire, do all this. We're all going to die. And
no, we wouldn't survive to. Without them, we'd be nowhere. Let's be honest.
This society is so insane when they say, like, oh, men's are conquerors, patriarchy, toxic masculinity. Listen, it's in our programmed instinct to go and fight and protect and provide and make sure that our pack is safe, fed, So with that, you have to respect it, love it, and be empathetic to us. And once we feel that as men,
anything can be accomplished.
I will bring everything to your knees. Like
exactly. So you need the synergy there, right? Because I think like sometimes women feel unappreciated because they feel they don't contribute. But like I wouldn't be in this position without my wife. Like she helps me so much on the back end. and just helping me stay on track with my goals, that it's a huge relief, right? So I get to be like in this masculine position where I can do what I want and provide and just be successful and that kind of stuff. And she's successful in her own right. I mean, she accomplished all her goals as well. She was world champion multitude of times.
Oh,
she was
I didn't know
champion.
That.
Oh, yeah, wow. Man, she competed. Yeah, 17, never out of the top 3. Never.
Wow.
Never. But also never lost a period. Maybe 4 to 6 weeks late, but then on the week of the competition, when the carbohydrates would come back in and food, she would have her period. Maybe sometimes on stage. Never bothered her, you know. But I never let her use anything crazy because I wanted to have a wife after she was done competing. So
ancillaries, I'd say ancillaries like there's ancillaries that can do a job. Like I say, if you're looking into wellness, even making a pro bikini, you can do it without attaching androgens fully, and even have mediocre genetics. And we start talking about figure.
You might need a little bit. Yeah.
Well, bodybuilding, then it's just it's a freak show. So. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on this, and I think we all live in a separated state where the society is just trying to say, like, I matter, I'm the man, I matter, and she feels underappreciated, and all you want her to be empathetic to your struggle and purpose. Yet, if there is no follow through in a man. If his actions don't match his words, ladies, stop giving him second chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Just let him drift. But it's not get out. Listen, I love you. I care for you. And it's not safe environment. So if as the woman you can't feel safe and you can't feel grounded, you're always going to be like this, disrespecting him, annoyed by him, and he's going to feel it, even if you don't show. And
then he can't level up. He can't get out of that rut. It's probably better to separate.
And then intimacy,
if you get into that,
intimacy and sex. So at times when we use compounds, we don't have periods. It all becomes like super physical. So connection gets lost.
Yeah, it's like it's a porn movie. It's ramming. It's not anything personal.
Why is the hookup culture so? Because we start using birth control, we start shutting down hormonal access, industrial toxins, everything. So we still have to get that punch of dopamine.
Yeah, right. But it's not. It's not the oxytocin punch. It's not. It has nothing to do with bonding anymore. It's just to get those hits in, and especially like social media, this made it 10 times worse. You know. Yeah, that's why everybody's single nowadays.
Synthetic sex and instant gratification. And again, so that's what I tell a lot of men, no fab in terms of make it work towards you. Hey, I'm not worthy enough to get, to go and date a woman to get sex. So make more money, keep focusing on you, and keep driving this inadequacy because you're not chosen by women, because right now social media made it so difficult for us men to date. Our grandfathers had to try 5 times less. It's like there could be the beautiful woman in the village, and if you're like above average man, you got her.
But their world was a lot smaller. The world is gigantic, and there's online. You create a lot of self-imposed pressure and competition with guys you've never met, and are not even within your near vicinity. But you see them on Instagram, and the girls see it on Instagram too. He's not as rich and as handsome as Chris Bumstead. But Chris Bumstead is also engaged, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. But it's a manipulation. It's manipulation because woman doesn't feel like she's appreciated or respected. A man has that like, hey, I'm standing up for myself. I'm a man, and she's like, oh, you're a bitch, and it's like it's all subconscious.
So body language communication. Like
then she just like, hey, I can. Oh, a bunch of guys want me and stuff like that, and this and that, and he's like, oh, I can buy everything. So everything becomes so transactional with like social media, status, sex, resourcefulness. So we get the hits to compensate for the truth of the fifth element. Remember, I said 4.
Yeah, so the fifth element.
That's the love.
It's a multi-pass. You remember Fifth Element, the movie, right?
Bruce. Oh, bro, I think I had a crush on her.
Everybody has.
Resident Evil. I was like, oh man. So Anyway,
that costume, that's sealing the deal before in the relationship
now,
too.
Since we hit the love, I want to, and this is going to help a lot of young men. So we're going to have to put four together. So first, it's your resourcefulness, your ability to make money. So the more money you make, the more you can protect. Better place, gated community, better geolocation, safer place living, better food. So it all comes into it. Also, it exudes future for a woman. So she's going to feel safe. You are adapted. Your fucking muscles mean absolutely nothing. You can be all Micah Hearn, and if you're broke, the worst thing that men in the fitness bodybuilding industry can do is to be Chad and to be broke. You cannot be Chad and be broke. Because literally, listen.
I know.
I had an iPhone box here, and this is the woman. She grabs the box. I'll demonstrate right here. And that's what happens in this fitness community. And I don't blame him. I understand it. And she comes in and she looks at the box. And it's an iPhone, latest, max gigabytes, everything great, best carrier. And she just like, oh, this is so awesome. This is so good. And she walks around with it for, I don't know, 3 months. And she's like, kind of not super heavy. It's supposed to be heavier because, Janet's iPod was heavier. And it's like, she's just like, okay. And the time comes. She opens the box and pulls out a fucking Tetris that you can't even make a phone call that has 5 shitty games. She was trying to make a phone call and, have
something that's accountable, no location, no emergency services, nothing.
Nothing. So you get it. So don't be a shitty fucking Tetris, because, if your wrapper does not match what's the inside, it won't work. So in hypercompensation, why are we trying to be big and we get carried away in the bodybuilding and freakiness? Not all, but most. And I've been there before. I came to United States skinny, tall. Nobody took me seriously. So that's why bodybuilding started, because girls like, you're weird. And then all the jocks were taken seriously. So that's the physical primal aspect. Second, it's resourcefulness. So third is your social standing. Okay, now young chads, listen up. Fourth, sexual pre-selection. The more beautiful women are selecting you and other women see it, the more likely you will have, better and higher value options in a dating pool market. Same thing. So we create the market. So woman, hey, I want 100K, 6 figures, 6 inches,
Shit. I can do the first, but not the second.
Like 6
Where's
figures.
my penis pump?
Yeah. You have to be charismatic. You have to make you laugh. You have to protect, provide, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. List goes on. And women can go on. And the moment we open our mouth and we say, because we create the dating market, standard. So throughout the board, multiple studies, psychological studies said that men are most attracted for mating, women from 20 to 25.
Yeah.
And do I it mind boggles me. Because most women will take this as an insult, but they operate off emotions, and I understand that, because it sounds, it sounds like I'm attacking them. Like, you're not.
Yeah, it sounds demeaning for the girls over 25 because
so
they think
you're the condescending feeling, but yet again, your personal value as the woman has nothing to do with your dating pool market value that XYZ social group, social construct of man created. Because you want us to make money, you want us to be strong, you want us to be Chad, whatever. And if majority of women want, that's the standard. So now if majority of you women, you start saying, I don't need a man, I can do everything. Hey, I'm just going to sit on the couch, scratch my nuts, eat chips, and get fat. Why do I want to be anything if most women, Western women here say,
it's Western women only, dude. In Thailand, they don't stand for that stuff. In South America, they don't stand for that. They want the masculine man. Trust me. You fly over here and it's a whole different story. But then you still have to recognize the high quality woman if you're a high quality man, you know, even though that term is a little bit played. Like if you take care of yourself and you know who you are and what you want out of life, you know, you should be able to get the same out of a woman. But I don't think you can get that out of a woman that's 20 to 25 years old. Will she be hot? Yes. Sure. She'll be super hot, nice skin, nice boobs, everything. Will she have the emotional maturity to deal with a man that's 35 years old running, you know, $1 million business? Probably not. Takes experience, you know, takes experience.
She said she can.
She can? Okay, that's good.
She is.
Then you put a ring on it.
I'm 35. No rings, man. No rings. No rings. No rings.
Give it some time. I got married after about 3 years of a relationship. Yeah.
And anytime I speak to a woman, like, listen, if I date you, I consider you as mother of my kids first, and then secondly, a wife, marriage, where I was like, cool, I'll involve government into my personal intimate life for sake of giving you a safety place.
Right.
That you're a wife. And again, with wife comes a certain status that woman carries. And again, I believe a woman who is, from my experience, women who've been in the relationship longest and were able to stay in and maintain, you know, longevity of relationship, they always have higher value and desirability in our society.
Absolutely.
Versus
but I
woman.
think as a man, it also adds value because it shows that you're committed and serious and leveled. And again, if you have a high, you know, like a respectable woman that stands by you as the wife, then it adds value to you as a man. But, you know, again, you can only make that decision once, not twice, not 5 times. It's the biggest decision of your life. So by all means, be patient and select the right one. I feel I did. Like, we're happily together for 10 years, married for 7 or 8.
It's beautiful.
And but it's rare. It's fucking rare. You know, it's really, really rare. And I think if I were to meet my wife when I was 25 and she was 25, it would not have happened. We were both 30, you know. And trust me, she was still desirable because she was in the fitness industry, but didn't do anything crazy. So, yeah, we met at the right time. And I think it's for most guys, you have to meet your partner at the right time when you're fully developed as a man. But yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, you know.
Oh, 100%. And man has to mature because we have to build ourselves. And for women, it's a bit different. So anyway, the biggest analogy in the Red Pill community goes like, hey, women get access to the candy store with unlimited card at age of 18. Man, we barely walk into a candy store at 30. And so now she's been hanging out there for 10 years. She already knows, hey, I like chocolates. And I come in, I'm like, chocolates, caramels, Sour Patches. I was like, oh, man, I want to try everything in there. So, and with that, I'm going back to that being monogamous as species, as our biology. Our biology by far are not monogamous. But then again, what does make us human? What does make us human? The gray matter. And I want to share some gray that one of my doctor friends told me, and that really sink in so deep. Dr. Nicolini, I know you'll watch it. So he said, "Hey man, you are a savage. You're a killer. You've been to war. You've seen things. You've been under pressure. Can you, when time comes, can you stand up and take a life?" Yeah, Mike, you can. Can you really go and sleep with another woman? And oh yeah, I'll blow that back out in a heartbeat. Now, and he's like, me too. But why would you take a chance to hurt and damage some beautiful, delicate, and vulnerable? Right. What the fuck?
Yeah, and plus something that you've built for years, or even months. If it's good, why risk it? Like I could cheat literally in 5 minutes. All I have to do is take my motorbike and go to a whorehouse around the corner.
But that's not cheating. That's transactional, and that's not a big deal. That's like OnlyFans. But
I can ruin the relationship literally in 5 minutes. But for the last 10 years, I've chosen every single day not to do that, right? Because the relationship is good and it's not worth risking at all. And I remember when I was still coaching women, I would only take women that were in a relationship or significantly older, for coaching because I didn't want to have any conflict. there, because you give these women as a coach quite a lot of attention, right? And some girls are lonely, they want this attention, and then it turns weird. So especially in Asia women are very susceptible to attention. So I always made sure that I got that covered. And, but again, that kind of commitment is earned, that is earned. Because in the beginning, dude, I've slept around quite a bit, when I was still single. And you need to get that out of your system before I think you're ready to commit. So again, when you're ready for the candy store, you need to try all the chocolates and the mints and, the marshmallows. Maybe not the marshmallows, maybe a little too soft. But yeah.
So speaking of 6 inches, I'm going to share some quite vulnerable story of 6 inches. So my ex-wife, I was married before military, so I got married young. So I've dated for 4 years, and we was married for 4. Again, didn't work out. I'm not going to go into details. It was just timing. Timing was off. Right. So the issue is she was my very first woman. And I was so happy.
You don't know who you are.
I was so happy. I was so happy, but I didn't know anything. I saw porn. I've seen things, and I'm like, okay. And one time, I remember, of course, girls talk, and I walk in on her talking to one of her friends, and I overheard it, like just swiped it. She's like, "Oh yeah, we did it," and I didn't even feel anything, bro. It crushed me. It crushed me.
How old were you?
18.
Oh yeah,
bro. Like I lost my virginity. I lost my virginity at 18, so I felt so inadequate. So I think maybe possibility wise, I say like, oh, you think you have a small dick, you're going to work out because you're like, hey, she's not taking me seriously sexually. Society thinks I'm skinny and tall because I was very skinny and tall, and that traumatized me to the point. So that's what I'm saying. That's the desire came to become, versed in social dynamics, psychology, understanding women for sake of feel that you are enough.
Right.
And like, again, as time came, the divorce happened. I moved to San Diego. Bro, I literally...
You caught up a lot.
So I did pick up, and again, I'm talking open. I did pick up for 3 months, and it was done. I felt so unfulfilled because I was able to recognize the patterns of the behavior, calibrate the social dynamics, keep my friend, give the woman
jaded. You get super jaded from that stuff. I did it too. It was fun though, but you get so jaded. And then did you get to the point where you go out and the girl wants to come home with you, and you're like, you know what? I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm too tired to forget about it, because in the back of your head, you got your dopamine hit already because she agreed to come home with you. But you're like, forget it. I've done this 100 times already. If you got to that point, then you're over it.
So here's the thing, and this advice will help a lot of people in relationship who've been there for a while. Woman, you have to figure it out how to desire your man emotionally when it comes to sex. Otherwise, you're not different than a prostitute in Thailand that we can go and blow the back out. Because this thing like, I'm going to suck it and I'm going to give it to you every day, whatever. And if you don't attach desire, as men, we want to feel desired. If we feel sexually desired on subconscious level, our biology tells us we are pre-selected and we get in sex.
Exactly, right. Yeah, you feel masculine, you feel validated, and you feel good about yourself. And the weird thing, the hard part for women as they age, they feel less desired sexually, right? Unless they really take good care of themselves. And having a husband that's financially secure helps a lot with that, right? That's why my wife doesn't really age that much, because I make sure she takes good care of herself.
Bro, same. Like, she doesn't eat like everything organic, everything. Like, I'm like,
exactly, yeah. Right, so you maintain your woman that way. And then, but as a man, you get more financially secure, right? And all those 5 points that you just mentioned. And guess what? All those 18, 20, 25 years old, they're lining up. They're giving you the nod, right? They're ready to step in. And you're already pre-approved because you're married. And women are conniving, man. They'll just step right in if they want to, especially here in Asia. So again, that's why I say get it out of your system first, so you know exactly what kind of drama you can get yourself into. And then when you do settle down.
I learned that from one of my successful friends, multimillionaire. And it's like first thing when we started hanging out, started our friendship. It's like, Mike, I don't want to hear you talking about fucking a woman. Yeah. We talk about money here. That's it. That's it. Like, and that's it. Focus, because again, we're going back to the fourth factor, sexual pre-selection. So if I suck at money making, I'm a brokey. I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting on my ass. I don't want to get 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I want to elevate myself. Secondly, I have zero social significance.
Right.
I am a waste to a society. I'm just a waste. I'm not adding anything in. Then was that, you might have the physique. So the gym, I got to go to the gym. I got to go to the gym because, if you hit 2, so you got the primal dominance, appearance, masculine physique, you get noticed. So your visibility is so much higher. So, but where's your fucking congruency? Where is it? So she comes in and she sees like, oh, wow. Oh, where's the discipline? Where's this? Where like it's discipline. Woman, unless she's a gold digger, she is not going for like a bank. No. She is going for your ability to follow through with your actions. Put your, mouth, like your action where your mouth at, man. Yeah. So, and I spoke to a woman of another highly successful friends, and she said, hey, I started dating him because he was always boom, 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 boom. Like he had a routine. He was disciplined. He did not feel. He acted. And this world made fucking man be all touchy-feely, which is okay. Show your fucking emotions.
It's fine once in a while, but not all the time.
No. You can, I cry sometimes.
Of course, we all do. Right, especially during Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 made me tear up like
Christ
a bitch.
Christ always, and I mean, I'm Christian, so Christ always cried in secret, without away from his apostle. And that tells you that if man holds a leadership position, he is responsible for XYZ. So as man in the family, in the preset that our biology programmed to, I have to exude confidence. I have to exude that I have plan. I have future. I can make decisions and be assertive and not be emotionally driven. With that, I still want to be funny. Why? Because humor is a big marketing of your intellect. Because if you can make some funny out of some not so funny, it means your critical thinking skill set is superb.
Plus, it doesn't faze you, when something negative happens, which, in our industry happens a lot. There's a lot of criticism left and right. But if you brush it off and laugh it off, then I think, as your social dynamics as a man is just way stronger. You're like, doesn't like it comes back to that fight of the tigers, right? One guy is just, assesses the situation, and one slap, it's done. Where everybody else is yelling and screaming and I'll fight you. I got black belt in karate and I'll talk.
If we take a stance of understanding that all it is, that the man who is screaming, maybe insulting, pouring shit on us, he just wants to feel that he matters. And he sees that you matter more than he feels he is. And that's why, because have you met any successful person 5 times, way above you? Have they ever put you down?
Never. They're happy for the success. And like successful people raise each other up because they know how fucking hard it was to get there. And it's success stories don't happen overnight. It takes years to decades, right? So when you get to that level, success recognizes success. But for other people, success is highly offensive. And that's why they want to put you down and talk shit and point out small mistakes that you make when in reality you're 99.9% correct. And that 1% or 0.1%, okay, you messed up, maybe you mispronounced, right? But then right away in the comment section or anywhere else on another platform, they have to rub it in. But I think in reality, once you get to that connection level of successful and respectable people, once you're in there, then it's good. Because now you can learn from each other. Like I'm learning from you, you're learning from me. We're learning from this very small group of people that is, go-getter and understands their role in their fitness industry to contribute. And I think it's then just a matter of time before the success really, really comes and you get bigger and bigger and bigger,
And boom, and there's byproduct. And as long as you endure and you don't quit, magic happens. But when you attach that desire to pursue, dominate to the value that you give to the world, that's where the good thing happened. That's why the people I work for, the ATM Together, that merchant automation that just launched. That's why I resonated with my neighbor So I've seen him multiple times. And you know what you say, like, hey, you want to be around people with high vibration? I literally, that was our story. We were in Fresh and Fit business. We never did the Fresh and Fit after hours. That's not good. That's not good business.
That's a bad bonding. Yeah.
So we did a midday business podcast with him, and great. Yeah. So when I told him the story, I was like, hey, listen, I was like, man, you must be successful. I walk in an elevator, my neighbor is beaming. Just like
some people radiate. Yeah, you can tell, you can tell. Yeah. It doesn't happen that often, but you can easily tell who's, on top of their game because they just have this aura around them, and that makes it very easy to recognize these kinds of people because they radiate as much as you do or even more. And that kind of gravitates to each other.
You and charge you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
And so I was like, man, so he told me what he does. And I was like, ATMs? I'm like, okay. So next time ran into him. And then very final time when I was going through my emotions, where I was like, I'm not going to go into details, but I've done everything in this life. So when I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be bad and I'm going to stop the hustle because this just doesn't exude longevity. And I was like, I was tired, bro. I was tired of being a good abiding citizen. I was like, screw the hospital, screw the military, good conduct, good evaluations. And then the last time, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be bad. And money comes with the different type of circles and people. The way you make your money, you attract different energies in your life.
No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it depends on which avenue you chase, because there are some, weird avenues that you can find yourself into. And the people there are,
So money has consequences attached to it because it will pull different type of people. So to me, hey, I want to be around people who give value to the world. Right. And next time I saw him in an elevator and the guy was dimmed out, he was just like, I was like, hey man, hey, I'm such and such. Like I can help you. I was like, let me give you some Hyperzine, like supplements. He was like, man, there's too many pills. I was like, bro, come in, get an IV. I got you. And don't need, I just like, you're trashed. You were like up, and he was just destroyed. Meetings, whatever. And that's where the BTM started. So he was starting BTM, and people didn't really believe it. What is BTM? What is all this? And again, so ATMs was quite successful with them. And basically all the company does is automates. Basically, we give you this wonderful box, and there's business. And every aspect of this business covered. So if you're doing YouTube all the time, and you're like, hey, I want to invest, say low 5 figures, that potentially can make you 200 to 1,000. And, there's testimonial. So this is not a get rich scheme. This is not like, oh, that's the only thing I want to do it. It's for people who are like, hey, I want to have a second stream of income where it's like, yo, this makes sense. Let me try it. And again, testimonials, you can go to the smoke shop and ask that owner, hey, how much do you guys bring in monthly? Do your homework, And
no, it's a no-brainer. I wish that more of these Bitcoin ATM machines were worldwide. But I know it's very popular in America and some European places, and I would consider doing it too. If it was generally accepted here in Thailand, but everybody it's not very incorporated into the business. So you could get money out of the ATM, obviously, and then pay cash. But most people have their credit card and some sort of automated payment system on their phone, which is 10 times more convenient than using Bitcoin and then cash. So I do think that it's eventually going to be the future, especially now with inflation and that kind of stuff and just printing more money. People are eventually going to go to Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And
early adoption.
International, man. If I send money and I want to send a bigger chunk of money, that is 100%. And then again, you can always convert it into the currency that is electronic that is attached to the value of US dollar. Right. So you're not having all this. So the key with BTMs is that you pay attention. It's like, hey, this is time to sell or buy. Yeah. Boom. So the key with BTMs is that you're not attached to anyone. So you don't have the delay times. So if you remember when a couple of big hubs crushed, and a lot of and it's like they basically went bankrupt.
Yeah, no, that happens every cryptocurrency bear market. So and probably more are going to go, but
But they
now
exchanged. That wasn't even a cryptocurrency. They exchanged exchange to crap, the hub.
Yeah.
So when you have a BTM, or first of all, you just pay a fee and inject money in, or and get Bitcoin and so on, or vice versa.
You cash out from your Exodus wallet or whatever wallet you have.
You can inject. You're like, hey, this is time, because tomorrow it's going to either it's already going to be way up. It's not going to be profitable. So now borders. So here in San Diego, Mexico is nearby, so it makes sense. And there's a lot of different types of transaction going on. But then again, but when you attach 12% fee to your Bitcoin ATM and you're just a money service, because you register LLC as the money service, that's great. Yeah. So I learned all this, and I was kind of skeptical to it. And then I was like, you're actually making people money, and people are excited. And usually majority of our clients are women of hyper successful men, because they want to feel worthy. And it's like, hey, Mike, like I need XYZ, for investment that's going to produce me, 200,000, whatever. And I'm going to do my business, or I'll put the cash in, or I'll manage whatever. Right. Now she feels like, hey, I'm actually running my little business.
Right. And you contribute something to the family also, and then, 200,000 a year is fucking great sum of money, dude. It's a great sum. Plus it's coming from Bitcoin. So, if you're money smart, you're always able to keep a little bit more than the government wants you to.
And that's how, and that's how the operations officer went to millionaire. He was homeless and lived in the car for at least 2 weeks. Oh man! And prior Marine, prior cop, just life happened. It was horrible. Relationship crushed him, and boom, and it came out. So,
but again, rock bottom. You got to hit rock bottom first.
The key with this business is that we're there to give people value. They will actually make money, and once people are like, oh shit, that actually works, and I'm making XYZ of residual that comes in monthly. That's great. So like the credit card machines now that I'm working for right now, 100%. So we use credit card processors to waive the fees, so we save merchants money. Also, we also make people money. So we give them the box in that business. We provide everything, location, negotiation. There's different offers for the premium price. So people can collect monthly residuals, and we have all social proof. So with that, the reason why I resonated with that group of people, first of all, I pushed away all other, I'd say, gray area money that were in my life, because I wanted to feel bad. I want to be a bad boy. I'm going to hustle.
Yeah. Well, we all go through this phase, right? But then at one point you realize that you can't keep looking over your shoulders all the time.
And honestly, thanks to women, because first of all, I was like, if I do shady shit, how can I provide a safe place and exude future when if anything goes, they can just come in and take me? And it's like, what the hell? You're not serious. So you're not, that's not protecting. No. They're just taking risk and providing whatever you can at that.
For moment. Temporary, because it's not sustainable. Everybody eventually gets into trouble that way.
And then she goes to bed in fear. How can she love you, and how she attach and pair bond to you again back to the body? Because cortisol and oxytocin, they go hand in hand. So when cortisol released, and if a woman feels loved and cared, it blocks off. So it's like she wears the shield.
Yeah, and then just keeping up appearances when in reality, in the back of your head, there's nothing stable.
So business and being a man, and like, I don't want to just hunt antelopes. I want to have rabbits. I want to have things, and because when season for antelopes done, like
you want the whole fucking zoo. That's what you want.
Yes, and that's why literally this business in a box that we provide is helping people to have streams of income. Not going to make you rich, but going to be a nice chunk of cash. I mean, it can pay for your car.
When general adoption comes, which is inevitable, right? Every 4 years, it gets more adopted. I mean, when you compare Bitcoin now compared to 4 years ago when I got in, or 2015, so that's 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I mean, nobody talked about it, but now it's, a lot more accepted. And I think after the next bull run, let's say 2025, 2026, I think a lot more people are using it. So when you get in early now, especially if it's successful during this like semi-bear market where we're kind of at the bottom of the value and there's not so much money in the cryptocurrency space, I think once it starts ramping up and people see the potential, if it's good now, when the market runs up and money is good again, man, it's people are like, oh fuck, I got to expand or die.
You talking crazy risk to me now. And you're like, Mike, what are you talking about? I fear cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. I never got into it. So that's why BTM business was,
it's more stable.
So see, there's demand. So there's many people like you that see and know it's the future. There's people like me. I'm like, I'm just gonna be an entrepreneur and do other type of business.
No, but right now,
but see, your background is finances.
Yeah,
you started early. So yes, so your biology and neurological passageways, the way you shaped yourself when you've stopped growing and developing, you were constantly processing, crunching numbers. So shit, you look at the charts and you're like, just wait. It's okay, guys. Don't get it. Just wait.
Yeah. And like, even if it's down 80%, I'm like, okay, I'll just put more money in. Just wait. It doesn't fucking matter because but you can only do it with disposable income. So let's say you're at that point. For example, you're at that point where you're making between $5,000 to $10,000 and you live good. You got all your expenses paid for, but you only have $2,000 left at the end of the month. Maybe put $1,000 in a savings account for immediate money pulling in case you need it, so you don't lock it up into an asset. Yeah, emergency fund, right? And if that's like 6 months worth of income, let's say $50,000, okay, that's good. It's more than enough, more than you'll ever need to touch right away, unless you want to buy a big fat car, but you can save a little bit more. And the other half you put into Bitcoin and you let it sit. If the value goes down, you DCA, you buy a little bit more a month later when you have disposable income again. You do that over the course of 4 years. And then when it starts hitting oversold territories and you see the Google trends, like everybody's talking about Bitcoin and your grandmother is talking about Bitcoin and people are talking about Bitcoin on the street, that's your time to get out. And then you ladder out, just like you laddered in, you laddered out. So you sell $1,000, which is now worth $6,000. And then you sell $1,000, which is now worth $8,000. You slowly ladder out. And at one point you sold everything. You're not a trader, you're a long-term investor. And at one point, it will crash again to the unit price.
When do you not quit? What about your brain and your awareness and understanding is different from mine? Because the way your neurological passageways were put in this type of survival mechanism in order for you to survive and eat.
Yeah.
You had to crunch.
But that's off the table. That's off the table.
I know, but see, it evolved in some that you're still doing. It's still you. It's still part of you. Crunching numbers, understanding the cryptocurrency.
I've been doing that my entire life. Yeah, I've been doing that my entire life.
And that's sort of passion, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, if you've been squatting at 5 years old and you start squatting right now, like you're gonna hit some. So that's great. So what's different with me, and that's why Bitcoin ATMs resonated with me. I'm the midddeman. I'm providing a
can be highly lucrative.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm like, hey, you guys selling? Here's my machine.
Come and get it. You guys are buying. Here I am. Exactly. So any transaction you're in between. Yeah.
See, that makes sense to me. That's and that's the difference. So I think the market is so there for the Bitcoin ATMs, and again, and the fun part that it makes people addicted to that business, because one time when those spikes hits, you're going to get this crazy residual. You're like, and then you're hooked. You're like, hey, what can I do? So that's why I love crypto, because every 4 years or every 2 years is a little peak and then a big peak.
It's exhilarating.
You're an addict.
It's gambling. It's 100% gambling, but it's informed gambling. It's informed gambling.
Awareness. We fear some that we don't understand, and I don't understand crypto. See, that's it. So,
but I do understand it. Yeah. So but in the beginning I didn't, and of course in the beginning I lost money. But the funny thing is, I just I knew investments because I used to do penny stock, during the .com bubble. And I got some, decent returns out of that because, again, I was like 18, 19 years old. I went through, intermediary. to get my, $200 surplus of the month invested. But those also went up like 20x.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I do have some experience with it. But yeah, I also see my portfolio come down with 50% at times. And you need strong fucking convictions. Strong fucking convictions about the market if that happens.
Universal law. People usually quit one or half step before they get to that destination or place or abundance. So see, and that's it. Yeah. So that's see, and that's why men interested in things and women are interested in people. Different driven biologists by different hormonal state, man.
Yeah. No, I know. So how many of these BTM machines you got running now? Or you just in between the provider of the machines and the end destination where these BTM machines end up?
Let me tell you a story. So I came to Paul and I was like, hey, Paul, I was like, bro, you actually making people money. Yeah. He's like, yeah, man. And I was like, bro, I just met so many scammers in my life. I was like, I love you. I was like, you're one of the people that actually legit.
Cares, right? Yeah.
He actually cares because, listen, if people have that liquid whatever they invest and it brings them extra $1,000, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you're making Christmas better for someone. You make someone not to worry about set of tires,
right. You take the issue of money off the table, for small purchases.
It's nice.
It's a huge
nice. It's versus hey, I'm paying $500 car payment. I'm actually receiving $500 car payment. So that's why these type of businesses made sense to me. And with ATMs, BTMs, people own 10, 15, 20, they don't have to work.
Right.
But then
one second, I got to pee so bad. Hold that thought. So where were we? Please continue.
So the story was the whole getting into the ATM together and merchant automation and actually start being part of the pack. First of all, I offered the value and I did not want anything in return. And I was just like, man, I'm just going to help you. I know you're probably a busy man. And I always knew if a person resonates with you and they see a good value, they will resonate. So you can't force this. And majority of the time people get offended. They're like, oh, I deserve it. But hey, there's different levels. And what I've noticed with this type level of people that are hyper successful, they operate at the very high vibe. So no drinking, no drugs. We're getting off on the process.
Yeah. Exactly. Everything is about the fucking process, right? And the payoff will come later, but you got to invest.
Routine. Yeah. But then now the goal is how can we refine it? How can we make it better? And just even looking at the credit card machines offer, the business in the box started out as hey, we're going to tell you what to do. Now we brought out 2.0 version. We automated everything. You don't have to do anything, no negotiation, nothing, everything. So you collect the money. So the key is we the only one in the whole United States who offer that type of business to people that they can invest money. So we charge the premium price. They get the monthly residuals from their investment. And that's how it works because a lot of people how do you guys make money? Well, we charge a premium for the business in the box. And which
you get a cut. You get a cut of that, right? You get a percentage.
Absolutely. And then again, the ROI is so good that
if it pays for itself within a couple months and then just starts generating revenue, then it's a great ROI.
But then again, the feel of fulfillment. Can you imagine you're this 9-to-5 worker and you saved a nice chunk of cash and there's I'm a business owner, this and that, and now you're like, hey, this is my baby. I own 2 BTMs. I have 3 credit card processing machines. I'm creating that, network within these niches. I'm talking to merchants. I'm talking to shops. So you feel fulfilled. You actually feel some that, hey, I'm not just 9 to 5, expendable.
No, right. You got some extra passive income, right? That, of course, passive income doesn't really exist. You always need to manage it to a certain extent. You have to maintain your relationship, maintain, the communication with the merchants, upkeep of the machine, and then, when trouble happens, you need to fix that. But
and the beauty of it, if we fix the trouble.
Yeah.
So if you pay and you buy the program from us, customer service, access to groups,
of course,
access to. So it's like, that's the thing. It's like you can buy your own ATM or BTM. You could do it yourself. Good luck. You can do it, but
it's a huge learning curve.
And that's what happened to Paul Alex. So that's when he was a detective, and he's like, man, I'm going to run myself down. And he said, start making a decent passive income off of it. And then more and more. And he's like, I don't need to be a cop anymore.
No, you do it
like in another year I can retire. And then he got so good at it. He's like, hey, I'm so good. I'm such an expert. Can you teach people how to be a coach? Right. You said you charge $3,000 premium or $5,000 or $10,000 premium.
Yeah.
And what flipped off Victor Black, like, oh, how can you charge $1,000? I'm like, value.
Yeah.
Value experience.
Experience.
And there's market for everything.
Right.
So now.
And demand. Demand is what usually drives up the price. So, if you got hundreds of people in line just to, get in touch with you, then you have to filter out the guys who are not so financially secure from those who are financially secure by having a price that's unattainable for most. And then you have a select few people who can afford it.
And now you're like, go ahead, man. Sorry.
Yeah. And then as you get more popular, more people will come in, more financially secure people will come in, and then demand goes up again. So I'm at 2.5 hours of consultations every single day. I did 2.5 hours today. I did 2 hours of recording, and now I do a 2.5 hour podcast with you. So that's 6-7 hours on call on a day. And I'm still smiling. I'm still grinding, right? It's not like it's not a punishment. I love this shit, right? Yeah. But I do understand that that's not sustainable. I love doing podcasts. I need to produce videos to keep the channel afloat. So which price is going up? Eventually the consultation. And that also means that the mentorship is coming out because it's not cost effective of my time, right? Because it's very involving. You're constantly on the phone, multiple phone calls per week. So on a minute, like a revenue to minutes, chart, it doesn't make sense anymore. So I'll have to discontinue that.
And that's why I admire John Jewett's business model.
Yeah, he does very, very well.
And I
guess who's also on the shit list.
Listen, it's fine, but to me is listen. So the key thing is you did something about it and you make money. And so we're going back into people that feeding off whatever, like news reporters, like back to Bodybuilding BS, back to the Greg Doucette's, back to Derek's. But did you fucking do it?
Yeah.
So you choose your battles. Mm-hmm. Hey, if you want to just talk and be a reporter, great. Mm-hmm. And if you want to take risk and run the channel and then you are on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have the biggest dick in the world. I just interviewed with Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
and,
twice.
But it all comes down to
another time.
and then it all comes down to like critiquing and not being excited. And honestly, it's like when people drive Lamborghinis, I look at it, I'm happy. I'm like, bro, you're doing something that I'm not.
It's great. Yeah, they're doing something good. Yeah, and they're at the point where they feel comfortable showing it off, right? So, and that takes balls too, because if you're self-made in the beginning, you're like, maybe I shouldn't, But at one point, like if you're so financially secure that you can just buy a Lamborghini cash, fuck yeah, man, show it off. I'm happy for anybody. I talk with multitude of people on a weekly basis that have tons of Lamborghinis and cars like that. And guess what? They're happy for me for my success, and I'm super happy for them for their success, I have to mitigate some of the stress because they're older and they really grinded their socks off for 30 years. Right? So they come to me to help them, rejuvenate again. But yeah, these guys are on top of their world.
There's the price, but they appreciate you so much. They're like, man, like I feel so much better. Like I can actually feel like be back in my performance, right, like when I'm 30 or 35. Yeah. So that's it.
And there's a value for that, and you'll be surprised, and I'm sure you have these clients as well. They don't feel comfortable with going with a $300 consultation. They need $1,000 consultation because anything under $500 or $1,000, it can be good. I think there's perceived value in this industry as well, and then when you want to, get into the real successful people and meet these high successful entrepreneurs that have done everything and achieved so much, they don't take you serious when you charge $100 an hour. They're like, this guy must be dead broke. That's why he's afraid to raise the price. But they know exactly what value is because they built that business themselves,
Bingo. Yeah. And the thing that was happening, if you chose to have a $10, $20 a month model to sell, your content, your knowledge, let's say Victor's great. Now we got John. John chose to have $1,000, I think his course, whatever, ballpark of that. And then he does, accommodate to the, not so wealthy bodybuilding community because we spend all our money on hyper compensating and try to be Chad mode. And that's all we can do.
Too much growth hormone. The growth hormone is not cheap.
Because then we can get visibility and trick women to sexually pre-select you. So at the end of the day, we get super depressed because hey, listen, they chose us just because for the looks and not a substance. And then secondly, they got tricked because they thought that every other girl picked you because there was something good about you, but it's not. We're hurt.
It's a superficial one, right?
So same in the business. And like I say, if you didn't come up with this idea and you didn't take a chance to drive a machine, because 80% of businesses fail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why automation and, that actually allows you to get to feel what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And then let's say someone gets ATM. They're like, oh, let me put BTM next to it. Okay, cool. Now we're like, hey, there's credit card machines. And now we do testimonials like, hey, congratulations to the serial entrepreneur. And that person was fucking miserable, working 9 to 5 in a freaking office square.
Yeah, now they're on top of the world, just being a part of that game. And I love those success stories, man. But yeah, again, you have to kind of grind a little bit. There's no free rides. And I really like John Jewett's business model and his website. I never signed up there, but I hear good things. It's not cheap, but when you signed up, there's videos there. It's all properly explained by an IFB pro who competes. He's in a loving relationship. Is like the accolades from John Jewett are fucking sky high. I mean, this guy's like the next John Meadows, with higher level of competition. So, I think this guy will be the best membership site at one point, because he's the pro that does it.
If John hears us,
he will. John, I'll send him.
Brother, if you teach and you create program of how to be so politically correct and diplomatic.
Fuck, he's so good, huh?
Dude, your level of diplomacy. I'd love to I don't know, man. I'll buy you all the sushi in the world just to go talk about and you're an open big boys, So again, how do you able to, what do you do, and what type of, what got you to the level, what helps you, because you went through the same process as most of us and further.
I think it's staying humble. I mean, he's very humble in what he does, and he works very, very hard, even though he doesn't really show off. But I know he's doing well, and I think it's just in his nature, like guys like that. They just
Let me share.
Okay.
0 distraction from other women. Looks like that relationship. They found himself in a good time, and she was doing her part, he was doing his part. That allowed this man to feel significant. I don't know their relationship, but from what I perceive, seems like
it drips love. Every fucking picture you see them together. It's like me. Yeah, it's like me and my wife. You see them together. You're like, this is one of those very few success stories where people are actually in a loving relationship, both being competitive.
And that's what industry lacks. That's because so superficial. Where's the depth? Where's that connection? Yeah. Right. So if you resonate and you have the not chemistry but connection, where no matter what, you're each other's person. So then it allows the man to pursue and be on conquest, and she puts freaking gas into fire. Like, hey, I believe in you. You can do it. He's like, who's the man? John Joe's like, I'm the man. That's the program right now.
Yeah, and then you level up a lot, and then he levels up, she levels up, and that's why they're both successful, So this is a power couple that's unstoppable. And it doesn't matter what
power couple?
Yeah.
Corey Fit.
Yeah, yeah. And Jordan
I
Peters,
follow
they're
Corey,
doing
and I noticed that her man is, I believe he's a registered nurse, and he's a videographer.
Yeah.
So, boom, how industry lacks someone that knowledgeable that can maintain the feminine frame and be so grounded and be so, in her femininity, being a competitive pro athlete.
Yeah,
And
it's tough, man. But you need somebody with the same mindset,
intellect, because she understands the effects of shutting down hormonal axis, having amenorrhea, and taking herself for prolonged periods of time without those essential hormones that that female biology absolutely needs to sustain nervous system, to sustain peace of mind, to sustain proper brain function. We never talked about neurogenesis. So the issue when we shut down, especially in women, why we have this term Karen. We're like, here's the explanation to it: the myelin sheath deterioration. So progesterone and estradiol, they're neuroprotective, but progesterone in itself plays a key role in myelin sheath regrowth and maintenance. So basically, you have a bunch of freaking, uninsulated wires. And the moment stimuli comes and these wires shorten, and we have YouTube videos, and somebody makes money on that, and a lot of it probably.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, because everybody loves to see the drama, Yeah, that's a funny thing. And progesterone also induces a lot of sedation, especially at higher dosages. So when you supplement it, you can actually induce sleep, because it has some anxiolytic and GABAergic effects. Yeah. So that's why I think, again, the hormonal balance for both men and women is so important to manage. That's why I always preach HRT.
CBG.
Yeah, the HPG, yeah. But I always preach hormone replacement therapy, not just TRT or estrogen replacement therapy, right? It's just part of the picture. If you're going to go that route, you need to replace or optimize all of them. And that's more micromanagement, but people do it they treat the hormonal aspect as a full-time job and the health as a full-time job. I mean, they're more productive, they're more successful, they're in a better state of health, mental health, better state of mood, and it's perpetual, right? It's perpetual that they're in this good state. So this is good for productivity, success, right? Your social standing. So everything kind of falls into place, but you have to manage it like a job.
Hey, man, and back to the job. And I will say one thing. Great on TRT clinics. They're doing a great job. A lot of times our niche, our community pours a lot of crap on them. Hey, you guys put in heavy doses. You're doing all this. And I'm pretty sure Derek will be agreeing with this, that certified doctor hours cost a lot of money. So TRT clinic first is to basically come in and sustain you and carry you through that environment that you cannot change. Hey, I'm not going to sleep. Hey, I can't eat. I'm going to sleep. I need a crutch. So TRT clinic there, not to just, we don't care about your supplements. You don't care about this. It's doctor's hours, and we have to respect physicians' wages. Because
I agree. I think doctors don't make like patient care coordinators and that kind of stuff. The consultations that they charge are not sufficient enough. I notice that every time I go to the doctor, you get the bill, right? Medications and medical imaging and that kind of stuff is expensive, but the doctor and the nursing fee, small, but they get paid from the surplus of the medications and the imaging fee. They also get a part of that. So it's like a small fee, so you don't feel like you're wasting their times, but the actual salary comes from some of the total expenses that you have. So even though the entry of a consultation might be $50, in reality, a doctor will make substantially more because they get a commission or a part of the revenue made by selling pharmaceuticals or supplements.
And majority of doctors work in groups, so they have a group of doctors for legal reasons and so on. So I get it. So the big thing is, and that's for people who's watching, if you go to TRT clinic, there's a lot of great ones out there. Again, Everwell MD, I love you guys. Thank you, Mark. So thank you for hooking it up. Shout out. And I want to say one thing. They play a role, but if you really care about your health, get a functional health coach, get a naturopath.
Yeah, it's okay to get a second or third opinion, Like
I don't think it's really an opinion. I think it's more like a support needed when you start operating at high normal levels of testosterone. Also, you withstanding that type of stress, which your body had created a protective mechanism to shut down hormonal production and not ride you through such high levels of androgens, high normal levels of androgens, when you exposed to stress so much. Why? Because too much ROS, too much oxidation. And that's where the competitive bodybuilding fucking hits it so hard. We're like, oh, I don't want supplements. Oh, like I barely can afford my cycle. And it's like, bro, like our biology was not, you have to support it. So you go to TRT.
You need the glutathione and the vitamin C and the ubiquinol, man. You need it mandatory.
Hire Steve for consult, and I think consults are great because again, if you're like, hey, you come in and I give you an outline, hey man, I know you're an expert, I need X, Y, Z, and that's honestly how majority of my entrepreneurs clients operate.
Right.
Hey Mike, I don't care. Like I want to have a good peace of mind, good cognition. I want to stay up. I want to perform. I want to have energy. Again, what do I need to do in the most simplest way? Boom, 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 boom. And that's why why you pay. That's why you pay for such a consult, because you're able to take such an advanced knowledge from 10, 20 years of experience, simplify it, and lay it down that fifth grader can understand. That's why you charge $3,000, $5,000 a consult versus Victor Black program being $30. Because if you
it's not 5,000. It's 1,000 right now, but it might go up for an hour.
It's whatever you decide, man. It's your business, and everyone should respect it. So to me, it's like you create, the demand because your offer. And most of the time, people don't understand the offer. And what I noticed being an immigrant in the United States, in the US, people don't like to do the work. They want it simplified, fast.
That's everywhere. That's everywhere in the world. That's not just the US. People want it simple and fast. They want shorts. And the weird thing is, like, I provide all the information for free, right, on my YouTube channel, but it's spread out. But people want it quick. And then, if you really want it quick and personalized, then that's
a premium package.
That's where the services are for, But if you don't have the money or you don't want to pay, okay, then sit through hours of YouTube content and piece it together yourself. It's literally all there.
Or worse, dig through the masterclass, and then you realize, bro, I need to learn biochem and stuff, and then you get lost
in a literacy class first. You need a comprehensive reading.
I think it's a great stimulus for the brain and feeling good, because like, hey, I complicated the material so much, so like, you guys can't crack it. It's like you almost puzzle the material to the point, and you still fucking charge $30 for it. Props, savage.
Savage. Yeah. No wonder nobody signs up there. Hey, I'm gonna leave it here because it's. I got 4 minutes left on this recording. This was fucking great, man. This was good, talking about masculinity and how the hormones interplay with your neuronal, function and that kind of stuff. It was eye opening.
Hormones are us, man.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, where can people find you? How can they get in touch with you?
At @PlanetMike_.
There you go.
The reason why it's Planet, because a good friend of mine who passed, actually, he told me, like, hey, Mike, you're always on your planet. You're somewhere else. So because I always saw, I guess, what. So at times I'm not very well understood, but again, it always comes from the good heart. And my motto, my mantra is like, how many people did I make smile today?
Right. Exactly.
And that's all that matters, man.
I'm sure you made a lot of people smile today watching this podcast. I'm 100% sure. Guys, let me know down below if Mr. Mike made you smile. Put the comment right here and go follow me on Instagram. Do you have a website or a YouTube channel or somewhere else where people can find you?
Website is merchantautomation.com, and that is the business that we offer that makes you passive residuals every month. So
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and I'll talk to you again soon, buddy. This is awesome.
Take care.